welcome to HardTalk India and the third and final of our interviews with top leaders from parties contesting the Indian elections. Today I shall talk with a man who is widely regarded as the mastermind of the BJP campaign. The party seeking re-election on its record of 18 months in office. But what sort of record is it, and how does it stand up to questioning? Here to answer the questions is the former president of the Bharatiya Janata Party and present Home Minister Lal Krishna Advani. Mr. Advani, your party's made its record in office, its platform this time around. What are you most proud of?
When we went to the electorate last year, we told the electorate that India has been independent for more than 50 years. Congress has been in office for nearly 45 of these 50 years, so far as the central government is concerned. The people have tried the so-called third front also for the remaining years. We want one chance for the BJP and its allies, presently led by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Today, when I go to the electorate, I don't seek a chance, an opportunity, but I tell him that you are in a position today to compare and contrast how the government led by Vajpayee has functioned for now 16 months and compare it with any other government of the past.
And you think that that comparison stands you in good stead?
I'm confident about it. And I've seen the responses of the people to this kind of appeal.
Let's then talk about some of the aspects of those 16 months in office that you consider your major achievements. Let's start with Kargil. How do you think such a sizable intrusion into such depth of Indian territory happened without the government actually finding out?
You call it a sizable intrusion? I wouldn't call it that.
4,000, 5,000 Pakistanis?
I would say that this entire line of control and even the international border are of a nature where any government so minded can do what Pakistan has done. How long they were able to do it, we are still to find out precisely. But our preliminary assessments reveal that they may have come there in April. We discovered them in May, and we immediately went into action. I remember when the withdrawal was taking place, and it was decided after they had been thrown out from most of the peaks, the remaining peaks, they said that we want time to withdraw. We said, how much? They said 2 days.
So you say if they need 2 days to withdraw, they took about that much time to come in?
Maybe 6 days, maybe 8 days.
There's a lot of speculation in the papers that perhaps the intrusion started last year, perhaps even as early as September, October of last year.
So far as whatever I know, I do not think there is any substance in it, though the planning for this kind of invasion may have been taking place over a period of months within Pakistan itself.
But you think it only started in April?
From what little is known, that's right.
Mrs. Sonia Gandhi has gone on record to say in Alwar that in fact the intrusion started well before the government cares to admit it, and she's clearly implying that in not admitting it, you're hiding something from the Indian people.
Not at all, not at all, absolutely. And therefore, I think the government did a very wise thing in having a committee of experts go into the entire matter without it seeming to be a kind of inquisition against the army.
Can I ask
because I felt that the army had scored a remarkable victory, and if an inquiry was instituted which seemed to be a kind of an investigation into their conduct, it would not have been.
Let me clear that matter up by asking you some specific questions. Did the G branch of the Border Security Force in October last year, after interrogating a certain Azhar Shafi Mir, report to the Home Ministry that there were Pakistani plans for large-scale intrusions in Kargil?
Not in these words. There were apprehensions that something can take place.
As early as October last year?
I wouldn't say that.
When
because all these are matters which are subject matter of inquiry.
But when were these apprehensions brought to your knowledge?
I think it is only after the discovery of the intrusions that further questioning here and there brought to notice certain matters.
So these
but they are not what they have been published to be in the press.
You're saying that these reports from the Border Security Force weren't brought to your knowledge until after the intrusions happened, although they were filed earlier.
It would depend upon the nature of that, and therefore, at the moment, even the inquiry committee that is doing its job, it's bound to discuss with me these matters, and therefore, I would not say anything today.
People say that there's no doubt about the fact, and the press has complimented you for this, that the BJP government handled Kargil after the intrusions were known extremely well. However, the BJP government seems to be very reticent about when the intrusions happened, what knowledge they had. Did the BSF file a report earlier than May, or was the report filed after May? On those areas, there's obfuscation. There's a reluctance to share with us what actually happened.
There is no deliberate obfuscation. From my earlier replies, you must have guessed that all along, while government was simultaneously probing into what may have happened, at the same time, we are conscious that in 1999, the army, the Jawans, have made the country so proud that immediately after this kind of victory, if the government were to go in for some kind of witch hunting, it would not be the right thing to do.
But you seem to be suggesting that if the government went in for an inquiry, the Jawans would be shown up in a poor light.
I do not know. I do not know where, if at all, if there was any lapse, where did it take place? So maybe at some level, but, and it is therefore that when we set up this inquiry committee also, the terms of reference were such that they should bring out the full facts.
But you are deliberately going slow in terms of revealing details because you wish to protect the armed forces.
No.
That's what you suggested.
No one wants to protect anyone. But to set up a kind of inquiry which shows that at the very outset there is some major lapse, I do not think it would be the right thing for the government to do. And therefore it has avoided.
Both General Sharma, a former army chief, and Lieutenant General Motidhar, the most recently retired vice chief of the army, have gone on record in the press to say that Kargil represents what they call a major intelligence failure. Are they wrong?
Maybe they are wrong.
Maybe they're right.
Maybe they are wrong, maybe they are right, but this can only be proved after we come to know the full facts. As it is today, we feel that the intrusions must have taken place shortly before May, and immediately when the government came to know about the intrusions in May, it went into an action which makes even a very strong questioner like you admit that Kargil was handled very well by the government.
Yes, but I also said that some of the necessary questions that should be asked about how it happened, how much was known, when it was known, are not being answered.
I would say that those questions need to be answered, but there is no hurry about it.
Why not?
They would be answered.
Are they embarrassing to a government on the brink of an election?
At the present point of time, what little I know, I do not think that the intrusions took place before April.
Okay, you spoke about the inquiry committee. Will you, as Home Minister, give evidence to it?
I think they are coming to meet me.
Will the Prime Minister give evidence to it?
I do not know what the
committee proposes. Do you think he should be willing?
It depends upon the committee's viewpoint. But the committee has already conveyed to me that they would like to meet me. I said, welcome.
And will you share with them, for instance, when you received this BSF report of apprehensions, as you called it?
Whatever I know, I would share with them.
And will this report then be made public so the Indian people know the truth?
That's for the committee and the government at that time when the committee's report comes to decide. But I would think that a report of this kind should be made public.
That's your personal feeling?
That's right.
And you as Home Minister, if you are at the time when the report is tabled, will push for it?
That's right.
That's a commitment?
As I said, it's my view.
Okay, let's move to Pokhran. You said that was another aspect of your 16 months in office that gave you great pride. Let me put to you the contrary view. People say that Pokhran has ended up disadvantaging India diplomatically without any appreciable military accretion of strength.
That's a viewpoint. And that viewpoint can be held by all people who think that India should not go nuclear. and who keep on advising us on that score. Whereas it was our government's committed view that India going nuclear would give India an advantage not only militarily but even diplomatically.
Well, look, this is the one I want to question actually, Mr. Advani. Let's, for instance, look at Kashmir. Prior to the Pokhran tests, Kashmir had very little international importance, and the outside world was happy to leave India and Pakistan to sort out the problem amongst themselves. After the Pokhran tests, Kashmir has become a potential nuclear flashpoint, and the outside world is very concerned about how it's resolved. That suits Pakistan. It doesn't suit us.
I have been in Parliament for the last nearly 30 years, and I have had occasion to go to some international conferences where Pakistan is also there, and I have not seen a single one where Pakistan has not raised this issue, and there have been many countries willing to back Pakistan.
But now, because we are both nuclear powers and the fear of a nuclear conflict between us is greater, when Pakistan raises it, the world worries much more.
I would like to point out another aspect of the same issue. If today, in 1999, when this Kargil issue arose, and people who regard Kashmir as a possible nuclear flashpoint, most of them, even those who support Pakistan's point of view, are of the view that India is a very responsible nuclear power.
You brought up Kargil. Let me point out that, in fact, many people believe that Kargil is a direct result of Pokhran. Pakistan realized that after Pokhran, India's position on Kashmir was internationally vulnerable. They did Kargil to ram home that point.
I don't think so. On the other hand, I have a feeling that two factors contributed more to Kargil. Firstly, the setback that they were receiving in the proxy war. And secondly, their desire to grab a vantage point so far as the Srinagar-Leh is concerned, Leh highway is concerned, and very soon there will be a conflict, and very soon, as has been happening in the past, there would be international intervention, and they would be able to...
Yes, but international intervention possibly of the wrong sort. The American president has committed himself personally to taking a role in helping resolve the problem by bringing the two sides together. That is international mediation at one remove, which we did not want.
We have always emphasized, and America has endorsed, that there would be no mediation.
Yes, but they're going to take a personal interest. He never said this sort of thing before. It's one step.
He may not have said it. It may have been to satisfy a country that was forced to withdraw from Kargil, which was publicly reprimanded by the American president, whatever be the motivations. In so far as mediation is concerned, Government of India's position has been clear, and formally, even America has endorsed it after Kargil also.
Mr. Advani, you said that in fact going nuclear had strengthened India militarily. Let me put this to you. It didn't deter Pakistan in Kargil one bit, yet concerns about nuclear deterrence restrained Indian forces from crossing the line of control, which our generals complained about. So it hasn't helped us at all in Kargil.
I wouldn't, of course, I cannot share anything with you so far as the deliberations within government are concerned, but this threat of nuclear deterrence or nuclear attack from Pakistan did not affect our policy at all.
No, but the opposite is also true. Threat of nuclear attack from India didn't worry Pakistan at all. They carried on with their infiltrations, they irritated us, they aggravated us.
Because maybe like America, like the international community, Pakistan also knows that India is not an irresponsible power.
So despite all the concerns the world over, and despite many concerns at home in India, you still believe that Pokhran has stood us in good stead. It's a valuable achievement.
Entirely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Let me come then to a different aspect of your record. It's the experience of Indian Christians in Gujarat in Dengs earlier this year. Many people at home and abroad say that allies and friends of the BJP exploited the fact that you were in power to try and intimidate the Christian community.
I'm happy that this question about Dang has been posed after a Commission of Inquiry's report in Odisha, because I view this issue of attacks on Christians. They came simultaneously in or about simultaneously in 3 areas. The first incident, a horrible incident, took place in Madhya Pradesh, where
The
some
nuns were raped.
nuns were gang raped.
Then-
The second, then came Gujarat,
And then Odisha.
and then came Odisha. Of these, all incidents were bad. Insofar as Gujarat is concerned, they were incidents mainly of vandalism. So far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, it was an outrageous act against nuns.
But let's stick to Gujarat, because that
I'll come
attracted
to that.
international attention in a big way.
Let me give the whole perspective. And the third was the worst of the whole lot. In Gujarat, the moment incidents took place, the government went into action, arrested the wrongdoers, tried them, prosecuted them.
Can I interrupt at that point, sir? You say the government went into action. Many people say that the Prime Minister's initial responses shows that he was less than neutral. When he went to Dangs, he toured with the president of the Hindu Jagran Manch, the organization alleged to be behind the attacks.
I do not think so. He did not tour along with the president
The
of the
papers
organization.
widely reported it. He never denied it. It has come to be accepted as a fact in the country.
Not to my knowledge.
Let me
Not
go
to-
further, sir. The Prime Minister, when he went to Deng, at a time when so-called forced conversions were at the center of the controversy, issued a statement calling for a national debate on conversions, and most of the press and most of the country turned around and said, it looks as if you're endorsing what the Hindu Jagran Manch is saying.
I don't think anything wrong about having a national debate on the issue of conversion, which has been the flashpoint in most of these tribal areas.
Except for the fact that the district commissioner in Dengs went on record to say that there are no forced conversions. George Fernandez told me on the 24th of January that he has absolutely no proof of forced conversion. So the Prime Minister wanting a debate
As far as the
suggested
Prime
something.
Minister is concerned, he did not talk about forced conversions. He talked about a debate on conversions.
Absolutely. And then, to prove my point, 2 weeks later, when he realized that what he had said and the way he had said it and the place in which he had said it had led to the wrong impression, he publicly announced that he in fact hadn't used the word debate, he meant discussion. But it took him 2.5 weeks to make that correction.
It's not a discussion, it's not a correction. And this is trying to read too much into a matter which is whether you have a discussion or a debate. It doesn't make much of a difference. Basically, all these incidents, not only this year in 98 or 99, but as Home Minister, I have seen all the incidents that have involved Christians during the last 3 or 4 decades have been invariably in areas which are tribal areas. And it is in the tribal areas that conversion leads to certain problems.
Only because people then seek to do reconversions, only because people try and call the original conversions forced. What I'm saying to you, Mr. Advani, is that the atmosphere created, not by you, not by your government, but by many people who support you and support your government, has made the Christian community in India today apprehensive, perhaps even scared. Can you reach out to them here and now and reassure them that if you're re-elected, this sort of thing won't happen again?
Why do you disregard the fact that the more heinous and the more repulsive incidents have taken place in areas where we are not in power, we are not at all involved?
That's perfectly true of Madhya
And
Pradesh.
so
It's
far as-
perfectly true of Odisha. But
so
what
far-
about Gujarat?
So far as Gujarat is concerned, the government proved its credentials when it went into action. And I would once again like to repeat that here is a party and a government against whom the biggest prejudice built up maybe by our adversaries, but which is there, has been that we are anti-minorities. And
Not you, not the Prime
No.
Minister, but do you remember what
But the government.
But do you know what the Gujarat Chief Minister said when churches were being burnt in Dengs? He said, only 4 lakhs of damage, trying to minimize it. Do you know what the Gujarat Home Minister said? He said, these are only sheds, these aren't churches, forgetting that they were places of worship. What both of these gentlemen were doing was ignoring or undermining the trauma of the Christian community. It's that trauma I put to you today.
And it
Can
is
you
therefore that I would like to affirm with all the vehemence and emphasis at my command that this is one touchstone which we have in mind.
So for the future, will you say to the Christian community here and now that you have nothing to fear, that your apprehensions are groundless, and we will protect you?
Certainly, and I would say that for all these 4 decades, I have been hearing that the BJP is anti-Muslim, and therefore I feel proud when I am able to say in Parliament and outside that Vajpayee's, one of the major achievements of Vajpayee's government was that in the year 98, 99, there has been no major Hindu-Muslim riot.
No, but the problem became a Christian problem
instead. It is not. It is not. I wish it were appreciated that this problem has always been there. Wherever there are tribals and those tribals are converted, some kind of problems arise. But if it arises in our state, if it arises while we are in government, it will be our duty to see that all Christians are protected, are guaranteed full protection and security.
Many will be very happy to hear that assurance. Let me therefore come to my last subject with you. For 10 years, people have said that the BJP is closely identified with abrogation of Article 370, the need for a uniform civil code, and the need to build a Ram Mandir. Today, because your allies don't agree with those policies, you've cast them aside. Isn't that fickle? Isn't that opportunistic?
Is Article 370, or for that matter, is Uniform Civil Code only a commitment of the BJP? Is it not part of the Constitution? And
but
yet,
if it is part of the Constitution, why have you cast it aside at this point in time?
I have not cast it aside. I have not cast it aside.
It's not on your agenda?
I would say it is not on the present government's agenda.
Precisely. So what sort of ideology is this? You've cast cherished elements of your ideology to the side so that you can come to power with your allies.
In the last 3 or 4 days, this question of ideology has been posed to my party. And I had occasion to reply to it 2 days back at Jaipur, when I said that I believe that good governance, a large area of good governance, has little to do with ideology. It has a lot to do with idealism.
Mr. Advani, can I put a point to you there and forgive my interrupting? Good governance without ideology is nothing more than an administrative civil service exercise in efficient government. If by good governance, however, you mean changing the face of India, a new, reformed, dynamic India, then ideology and ideological commitment is the only way to achieve it.
No, idealistic commitment. A commitment to ethical politics. A commitment to idealistic politics. And this I came to realize.
So ethical politics is not enough. Ideological commitment to change is what we need.
Yes.
That's what the BJP offered today to come to power. You pushed it aside.
No, we have not pushed it aside. We have not pushed anything aside, except that when we are forming a coalition, not a single party government, in that coalition, the maximum measure of agreement is what is presented today by the manifesto we.
And the 3 most cherished things the BJP believed in are not in that manifesto. People turn around and say that a party that can cast aside its most cherished beliefs to come to power doesn't believe in anything but coming to power. That's the charge they're making.
That kind of charge would be made against all those who subscribe to the Constitution and cast aside Uniform Civil Code. Would that be fair? All that it would mean is that Uniform Civil Code may be desirable, but if today the society is not ready for it, should the government impose it on the people?
Old followers of the BJP who stood by you in adversity when you were just an opposition party, when you were a rump of 2 seats, turn around and say today, we'd rather the party stood by its ideology than put the ideology aside just to come to power. They say you've made the wrong choice. You've done a deal with the devil.
Harper, if that were true, today this question would not be posed only by adversaries. It would be posed by my own supporters, who are not posing it. See who is posing the question. Those who have always been against repeal of Article 370.
Mishra, Govindacharya, J.P. Mathur, all these dissonant voices that seem to say the wrong thing at press conferences. They say the wrong thing at press conferences.
These are not dissonant voices. They may not have been as suave in answering questions posed by interviewers like you, but they are not dissonant voices. They accept that what has been done today is the right thing. And when I say that for the next 5 years, we will concentrate on giving the country good governance which changes society in a manner acceptable to all and acceptable to those who have made this government possible. I am not discarding any principle. I am not discarding anything aside.
On that note, Mr. Advani, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.